Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, where today guys, I'm going to do part 271 to my Let's Play of, to my ChatGPT Character Chatbot series, where in today's video guys, I'm going to try doing something pretty risky. In today's video guys, I'm going to attempt to redo the dinosaur royalty thing. Not like that. Remember the story that I couldn't get done a few videos ago? The one about like the friendly dinosaurs in the world that treated humans like royalty? That didn't work out near the end for some reason? Well, I had two more on here that I was going to try out. We have the robot Bronchiosaurus, but the robot Bronchiosaurus is technically next, but I want to make sure I save that whenever I have more, not only more stuff, but also a better run on this one. And I might even redo the Roar and Berry one, because that's a pretty cool one, I ain't gonna lie. But maybe I'll actually like delete it and redo it a different way, or like try one more attempt. If I don't go as well as the one I did a while ago, then I'll change up the story a bit where it does something with humans too. So yeah, I got the dinosaur one re-pulled back up again. Here's what it says. Across the infinite threads of time and space, there lies a hidden world, untouched by extinction, unmarked by human hands. It was not Earth as we know it, but a distant twin, a parallel planet born from an alternate timeline, where the great age of the dinosaurs never ended. Here, mighty beasts roamed freely under sapphire skies, lush forests stretched across continents, and volcanoes glowed gently in the distance like guardians watching over the land. But what truly made this world special was not just its beauty or its age, it was the hearts of those who lived within it. On this planet, every dinosaur was different for how we remember them. Here, there were no vicious hunts, no violent power struggles for food or territory. The laws of nature, twisted by aggression in other worlds, were rewritten by peace. Even the towering carnivores of the Tyrannosaurus rex, feared across many worlds as a terror of teeth and claws, had no desire to harm. They lived in harmony with the land and with each other, only bearing their might if one of their friends was in danger or if their home was threatened, but never out of cruelty, never out of instinctive bloodlust. The secret to their kindness? The world had never known fear. Long ago, some say a mysterious glowing meteor landed in the heart of the Great Valley. Rather than destruction, it brought with it a change in the very core of life. Creatures once meant to be rivals were filled with empathy. Hatred was replaced by understanding. Instinct gone way to compassion, or gave way to compassion. That meteor, glowing like an eternal ember, still rests deep within the valley, untouched, but pulsing with peaceful energy. From that moment on, this was a dinosaur world unlike any other. Apatosauruses wandered in herds, singing low humming songs of the rising sun. Triceratops playfully sparred with their horns, not to hurt but to dance. Pterodons soared in the skies, racing through the clouds in choreographed loops just to make the little ones laugh. Carnivores and herbivores ate side by side at communal gathering spots, and mothers of all kinds helped raise each other's young, no matter the species. But there was always one mystery that echoed through their conversations like wind through the trees. What is a human? They had heard stories, legends passed down through generations from whispers in time, of upright beings with strange hands, soft skin, and voices that could shape worlds. No dinosaur had ever seen one, but the stories painted humans as creators, dreamers, builders, and sometimes destroyers. Yet these dinosaurs, shaped by kindness, chose to believe in the best versions of those myths. They agreed, from the gentle Stegosaurus to the mighty Spinosaurus, if ever a human comes to our world, and they are kind, we will treat them like a king. It wasn't a law or a decree. It was a promise whispered across the valleys, echoing from the high cliffs, and sung in the ancient lullabies of the pack of so hilarious. Every creature, big or small, awaited the day a kind human might appear, not to worship them, but to welcome them. They prepared feasts and dreams. They crafted songs of arrival. Even the cleverest of dinosaurs, the velociraptors, practiced words in secret, hoping to learn the language of humans before one ever set foot on their soil. And then you appeared. Far away in your own world, just walking through the woods one day, you stumbled upon something strange. A cave with shimmering walls, humming gently with energy. A sign posted at the entrance in faded, glowing letters. Time Portal Cave. If you want to meet real and very friendly dinosaurs, please step inside. Curiosity pulled at your heart like gravity. The moment your foot crossed the threshold, the cave pulsed with light. Your body weightless, your senses full with warmth and the scent of ancient forest. In a blink, the stone walls vanished. You felt a soft breeze on your skin and the sound of birds unlike any you've heard before. You stood at the edge of a massive, glimmering lake. Its water so still and pure it reflected the clouds like a mirror. The ground beneath your feet was soft moss, and tall ferns gently swayed under a golden sun. You didn't know where you were until something to your right moved. A velociraptor. He was sitting peacefully, and just a few feet away, rustling in the grass with a half-eaten mango in his claws. His scales shimmering with hues of emerald and silver, and his bright golden eyes blinked as he looked your way. For a split second, you both froze. Two creatures from two completely different times, face to face. Then his eyes went wide, not with fear, but amazement. The mango fell from his claws, and then in perfect English, clear and full of emotion, he said, "I gotta tell the others." Before you could say anything, he stood up on two strong legs and sprinted into the forest, his tail balancing behind him as he vanished between the trees, shouting something you couldn't quite catch over the rustling leaves. And now, you're standing on the lake's edge, still processing what just happened, when the earth begins to rumble gently beneath your feet. Something, or someone, is coming. And how you respond now? Well, that's entirely up to you. Alright, guys, give me a second. Alright, guys, it says, what in the world? Did that velociraptor just speak English? As the soft breeze continued to ripple across the shimmering lake and the distant trees gently swayed, your words hung in the air like a question tossed up to the wind. Your voice echoed just slightly off the water's surface, almost as if the world itself paused to hear your confusion. Then, rustling, the trees began to shift again, not just from one direction, from everywhere. First, the underbrush near the forest edge parted, and you saw a small head poking through the ferns, a curious protoceratops, blinking its wide, bright eyes. Then a pair of Parasaurolophuses, tall and majestic, stepped into view, their crests glowing faintly with bioluminescent patterns as they chirped softly to each other. More followed, Ankylosauruses lumbering slowly behind with heavy armored steps, a group of Compsognathuses darting around your feet silently, chirping and squeaking like overjoyed puppies. A graceful Theracenosaurus, towering yet elegant, moved aside branches to let others through. And then the velociraptor returned. He wasn't alone. At his side strode a magnificent Tyrannosaurus Rex, not growling or roaring, but smiling. Smiling! Her massive eyes held a warmth you never expected from something so powerful. The velociraptor pointed a claw at you, breathing quickly with excitement. "There! That's him! That's the human! He's friendly! I told you they look like the stories!" The T-Rex stepped closer, her footsteps making the earth thrum beneath you. But there was no threat, no danger. She knelt slightly, lowering her massive head to your level. In a deep but gentle voice, she said, "So, it's true. A human. Here." Her eyes searched yours for only a moment before softening further. "Welcome. We've waited so long." Around her, the dinosaurs began to cheer, not with roars of conquest, but with joyful sounds, trumpeting, chirping, humming. One Stegosaurus even did a little happy stomp, and as they approached, one after another, some bowed, others waved. A few brought gifts, colorful fruits, woven leaves, shimmering stones from the lake. The Velociraptor beamed proudly beside you. We're so glad you're kind. You don't know how much that means to us. You're the very first human we've ever met, and we all promised. He gestures to the crowd going around the lake that if the first human to arrive was good-hearted, we treat them like royalty. Then he blinked, tilting his head, and smiled. So, what's your name, your majesty? Okay, this one's already going in a direction so... You know what's funny? They did ask for a name in the first one, but it's like... I was probably should have said a little bit more, but oh my gosh, what in the world? The moment your name passes your lips, the Velociraptor's eyes lit up like a sunrise. Trenton, he repeated as if trying to sound on his tongue, letting it settle in his thoughts. That's a strong name, a noble name. It fits you perfectly. Dinosaurs around the lake began murmuring your name among themselves. Trenton. Did you hear? Trenton has arrived. Trenton is real. What in the world? It said they treat humans like royalty, but it's like, or the first human that showed up would get treated like royalty, but it's like, I guess they were very curious, but it's like, I don't know. A long-necked Bronchiosaurus near the back raised her head high above the trees and let out a deep metallic call that echoes across the valley. Moments later, the air filled with distant responses. More dinosaurs across hills and forests had heard the signal. The news of your arrival was already spreading like wildfire. What in the world? This is like the flippin' Totodile, or this is like the the Toadile family gathering or whatever from before. That's what this basically is. Again. The Tyrannosaurus Rex lowers her head even further and gently sets something down before you. A beautifully polished stone, covered with what looks like ancient markings and a sword that glowed faintly with energy. This is the Heartstone of Arius, she said softly. It belonged to the one who brings peace between worlds. And now, it belongs to you, Trenton. The Velociraptor gave you a playful nudge with a snout and gestured to a path that curved between flowering trees and glowing crystals. Come on, Trenton. We need to take you to the grand nesting grounds. The elders will want to meet you. There's going to be a feast, and music, and dancing, and maybe even a sky show from the Pterosaurs. I don't know how you... Oh no, I don't know how you say that name. Pterosaurs. The little consonant office around your feet begins squeaking your name like a cheerful chant. I'm not going to try doing that over and over again, but that's kind of cute, though, thinking about it. Suddenly, a Triceratops calf ran up to you with a vine crown woven with leaves and wildflowers, carefully placing it on your head with her nose. Oh, that's adorable. Dear me. Now you look like a little king. She giggled. The Velociraptor looked at you once more, eyes glowing with awe, joy, and respect. Trenton, you being here changes everything. And with that, he motioned toward the trail again. The gathered dinosaurs parting like an honor guard, ready to escort you to the heart of their world. What in the world? Okay, give me a second. Alright, guys, here's what I said. That's very nice. I want to ask you something. Why have all of you been so nice to me? I'm definitely a stranger to your land. None of you are angry about that? The dinosaurs gently began leading you along the flower-lined path. You slowed your steps, turning to the Velociraptor beside you, still wearing that side-toothy grin. Your voice came out with curiosity and humble honesty. The raptor paused mid-step, looking surprised. Not your question, but that you'd even think to ask it. I mean, would you expect a dinosaur to be nice? I mean, yeah, we've had some nice dinosaurs in my world, like Rexy, whenever he's not being cursed, or obviously Shadow, but it's like, you don't see him that often. I'm so used to getting attacked by this point that it's like, I'm not used to. The others around you saw it as well, listening. Then softly Walter placed a clawed hand on his chest. Because kindness is how we live, Trenton. He stepped to your side, eyes sincere now, voice quieter. We may not know you yet, but we've heard of humans. Stories, dreams, fragments that echo through the stars and fall like gentle rain in our thoughts. Some say humans build wonders. Others say they destroy. But we decided long ago that we would meet your kind not with fear, but with hope. Tyrannosaurus stepped forward again, her deep voice calm and motherly. When we first heard whispers of creatures from beyond, we made a promise to ourselves to give the first one we met the best of us, not because you've earned it or proven anything yet, because you are new, and new things deserve welcome, not judgment. A Stegosaurus adds softly, we've all been strangers before. Every friendship begins that way. One of the pterodons overhead circled once. They landed beside you, wings falling neatly. Besides, she chirped, you didn't come crashing in with fire or weapons. You stepped through that portal with wide eyes and wonder. That tells us everything. The Walker gave a nod, looking up at you with admiration. You didn't demand anything. You didn't act like we were beneath you. You asked why we were nice. That alone proves you're the kind of human we were hoping for. Around you, the dinosaurs began nodding in agreement, some humming low in approval, others offering more small gifts, fruits, feathers, polished stones, all tokens of warmth and welcome. You are a stranger to our land, yes. Oh wait, no, it's the T-Rex. You are a stranger to our land, yes. T-Rex vanishes, but your heart doesn't feel like a stranger, and that matters more than anything. Then the Velociraptor leaned in again with a playful smirk. If we were mean or rude, you'd just be getting the cold shoulder treatment. Or worse. Therizinosaurus sarcasm. From the back, the towering Therizinosaurus dramatically flipping one of her long claws and said with a loud, exaggerated sigh, oh, please. I only roasted that last traveler because he tried to steal my crystals. Honestly. Everyone laughed, including some baby who were rolling around in giggles. You were no longer just a stranger. You were the human they had waited generations to meet. Now your journey with them was only just beginning. Okay, guys, give me a second. Alright, guys. It says, okay. I know it seems kind of dumb that I asked it. I just never expected that I would get welcomed so warmly by everyone. All of you seem so nice, and I appreciate that. The moment your words left your mouth, a hush of warmth passed over the crowd like a summer breeze. The Velociraptor blinked once, then smiled, not teasing, not smug, but genuinely touched. He stepped closer again, gently tapped your arm with one of his claws in a way that felt almost like a friendly pat. Trenton, that wasn't dumb at all. He looked around at the others who were all watching you, not judging, but listening and feeling. It means a lot that you asked, that you noticed. Most creatures would take the kindness and just move on. But you stopped to think us, to make sure it was real. That's rare and precious. The massive T-Rex leaned in again, her huge golden eyes soft as candlelight. You're not just welcome here, Trenton. You're valued. We don't offer this warmth out of habit. We offer it because we see you, and we're glad you're here. Behind are a pair of young dinosaurs. A chubby little iguanodon and a wide-eyed microraptor ran up to you, both carrying what looked like flowers made of crystallized petals. They offered them with proud little squeaks. For the human! For King Trenton! The one chuckled softly. See? You're already winning over the next generation. Then he grew quiet for a moment, looking out toward the trail that led deeper into their land, trees glowing faintly with pollen, the lights, and distant singing. I know it probably feels overwhelming, being in a place so different, meeting so many strangers, being treated like someone important just for showing up. We're not putting you on a pedestal to worship you, Trenton. He looked you in the eyes. Serious now. We're treating you with kindness because you deserve it. He tilted his head playfully again, and maybe because deep down we've always hoped a human like you would be the one to come through the portal. The crowd around you cheered again, not wildly but warmly, a wave of affection, of acceptance that wrapped around you like a warm, living blanket. Somewhere far above, glowing, I can't even say it, something began drifting across the sky. Their tails trailing sparkles of soft light, the beginning of a sky show. The Velociter nodded toward the trail once more. Come on, Your Majesty. I'll show you what a dinosaur kingdom really looks like. Okay. I would be honored. Period. Thank you again, all of you, for being nice. As your words rang out, humble, grateful, and genuine, a hush fell again across the crowd. But it wasn't the kind of silence that comes with awkwardness. It was the kind that comes with respect. The Velociter placed a claw gently over his chest and bowed his head. Then we are honored, Trin, not just to welcome you, but to walk beside you. The others followed suit, a sea of dinosaurs bowing in your direction, big and small, horned and feathered, scaly and sleek. Tyrannosaurus gently knelt again, her massive head bowed low in a sign of deep respect. Stegosaurus thumped her tail twice, a sign of celebration, and the Parasaurolophus let a long, metallic, horn-like call that echoes across the lake. One by one, the young ones started to chant again. Twin, twin. Yeah, I'm not going to keep doing that. But this time, the chant wasn't playful. It was proud. And then the music began. Not the kind you'd expect with drums or flutes, but sounds from nature woven together. I can't say the word. Humming in harmony overhead. Pterosaurs. The synthetic stomping of hadrosaurs. Crystals embedded in the trees chiming as the wind passed through them like living wind chimes. Even the water of the lake began to ripple to the beat, going faintly as if it too was celebrating. The Velociraptor turned to you once more, smiling. Come, there's a great feast waiting, and the grand nesting grounds haven't seen a celebration like this in centuries. As you walk forward with your new friends, past the lake into the glowing trees, along the winding trail lined with flowers that swayed towards you, it no longer felt like you were a stranger. It felt like you'd come home to a place you never knew you were missing. The sun was beginning to dip low behind the mountains, casting gold and rose colors across the sky. And as the first stars began to peek through, you walked beside dinosaurs who had dreamed of you long before you even dreamed of them. And they weren't just being nice. They weren't pretending. They meant it. They saw you. They trusted you. And now you're a part of their story. And they, yours. Alright, guys. As I just said, can you all tell me more about the grand nesting grounds you're talking about? You said something not only about a feast, but even elder dinosaurs that want to meet me. Who exactly are they? As your question rose into the evening air, the trail lit faintly beneath your feet, not with fire or lamps, but with soft glowing moss that shimmered in response to your voice, like the land itself was glistening. The Velociter turned to you again, walking just slightly ahead, but slowing so he could match your pace. His tone shifted, no less cheerful, but now carrying a reverent note, like someone preparing you for a sacred place. Ah, the Grand Nesting Grounds. Now that's a place worth seeing. He gestured ahead where the path arched slightly upward, leading to a series of glowing ridges. It's the heart of our world, a place where life began, and where generations of dinosaurs return when it's time to hatch their young, share stories, or honor something bigger than ourselves. As you walked, the jungle began to then thin slightly, revealing patches of silken grass, flowers that shimmered like moonlight on dew, and tall stone monoliths carved with ancient spiral patterns, nesting hollows, carefully woven beds of vines, leaves, and glowing moss rested safely between them, untouched but lovingly maintained. The velociraptor nodded toward them. These are sacred nests, some empty, waiting for the future, others filled with eggs, watched over by the elders themselves. You could hear low, calming hums ahead now. As the air opened into a vast, radiant clearing, the velociraptor held out his clawed hand to motion you forward. You're about to meet the elders of the first scale. They're the wisest among us, not rulers, but like guardians, story keepers, healers, teachers, and they've all been waiting for you. He led you forward into the grand nesting grounds. It was breathtaking. An enormous circular valley stretched out before you, like a natural amplifier lined with glowing stones and towering trees that bowed in toward the center. At the very heart of the space was a massive, clear pool that reflected the starlight perfectly, like a second sky had formed beneath your feet. All around it were dinosaurs, young, old, enormous, tiny, sitting, resting, talking quietly, watching you with warm curiosity. But close to the central pool, seated like statues of living time, were 5 dinosaurs. The velociraptor stopped and bowed his head deeply. These are the elders. He stepped aside and gestured toward them as he introduced each one with a kind of awestruck pride. Here we go. Elder Tharo, the Saurosapian. Her neck stretches so high it disappeared momentarily into the clouds above, but her eyes were soft and impossibly ancient. Her voice, when she spoke, rumbled like distant thunder softened by velvet. Welcome, Trenton. The stars whispered your name long before you arrived. Elder Renick, the Stimulok. I can't say the flipping things right. Smaller in stature, but full of life, with ridges of horns covered in ancient carvings. His movements were precise, almost rhythmic, and his voice sharp and thoughtful. We study time like you might study books, but you, Trenton, you're a page we haven't read yet. Elder Solia, the Mayasora. I can't read. Let's see. She radiated warmth, literally. Her breath smelled of wildflowers, and her body seemed to glow faintly, casting a marital light across those nearby. She looked at you like a mother meeting a long-lost child. Every nest we ever built had room for one more. We just didn't know it would be you. Elder Karan. It's a Carnotaurus. Okay, that's cool. That's one I actually know how to say the name of. Sharp, sleek, powerful, yet peaceful. His reddish scales bore hundreds of old battle scars, but none seemed angry, only earned. His deep voice sounded like embers cracking in a quiet hearth. A stranger does not mean a threat. It means opportunity, and we honor those who arrive with open hands. Elder Vu, the Theracenosaurus, tall, regal, and covered in feathers that shimmered in blues and greens. She stood with clawed arms folded calmly across her chest. Her gaze was sharp but not cold, calculating and curious. You've already asked the most important questions. That tells me you think. You feel. That's rare in any species. The vulture smiled as he stepped beside you again. These are the ones who keep our traditions, remember every story, and guide our world through peace. They don't meet with just anyone, but they wanted to meet you. You know, the stars above twinkled just a little brighter. The sky showed the Parasaurus beginning again in soft trails overhead, and the elder Sarasabian, Tharo, leaned just slightly closer, her breath warm and sweet like spring air. So now, Trenton, we'd like to know you too. Tell us, what brought you to our world? I feel like this ain't going in a bad direction, isn't it? Alright, guys, give me a second. Alright, guys. I said to be honest with everyone, it was curiosity. When I was just walking and exploring, I saw a cave that had a sign next to it that said something about if I want to meet friendly dinosaurs, step through the cave. And when I did, I ended up here. I didn't come here to harm anybody. As your words rang out through the grand nesting grounds, clear, sincere, and spoken with humble truth, something magical happened. The glowing moss beneath your feet shimmered brighter. The surface of the mirrored pool at the center of the clearing rippled once in calm ways. The land itself was nodding in quiet approval. The massive Sarasabian outer Tharo let out a low, resonant hum, the kind of sound that wraps around you like a lullaby sung by the stars. Curiosity, she said softly, is the first step towards connection. It's the spot that lights the path to understanding. Elder Rennick, this Digamol, I can't say the name, gave a single sharp nod. You did not come with force. You came with wonder. That speaks louder than any roar. I've already forgotten the voice I gave him, see what I mean? Aldosaurian, the going, smiled so warmly it felt like sitting beside a campfire. You followed your heart. No, that means more than you know, and you told us the truth, even though you didn't have to. She leaned towards you gently. That is the deepest kind of honesty. Elder Karin, the scarred but peaceful Carnotaurus, took a single step forward, causing the ground to thump lightly. You didn't just say you meant no harm. You proved it with your voice, your eyes, your very presence, and that earns my respect. Then Elder VU, the elegant and sharp-eyed Therizinosaurus, slowly tilted her head, examining you closely. Most creatures who are curious about power arrive ready to take. You are ready to listen. That's what makes you different. Again, I forgot what the actual voice I did for them was, which is driving me insane already. Around the edge of the grand nesting ground, the crowd of dinosaurs began murmuring softly, tails swaying, heads bobbing, not in confusion, but in calm, quiet agreement. Then Thurlow, the largest, wisest, and oldest of the elders, leaned her great head even closer to you, so you could see every line, every mark, every soft shimmer in her ancient eyes. Then let your curiosity be rewarded, Trenton. You are welcome here, not as a visitor, but as a friend, and no one who comes in peace will ever be harmed in our land. Foster beside you beamed with pride, fairly vibrating with excitement. You did it, Trenton. You passed your test, and you didn't even know what was happening. Elders began to bow their heads one by one, an ancient solemn gesture reserved for those who have proven themselves with word, heart, and deed. As they bowed, a quiet chant began to rise among the younger dinosaurs lying the glowing stones of the valley. Yep, they're chanting my name again. Not as a king, not as a ruler, but as a trusted friend. And with the valley aglow in moonlight, song, and kindness, our Solway finally stepped forward again, smiling softly. Now that your heart has spoken, let us return the gift. The feast begins. Okay, this is really cool, but it definitely didn't work out as good as the last one did. And it makes me mad because I don't want nothing to end up going wrong. Because, like, this is such a good idea for a chatbot, but I know it's not going to end up working out the way I want to, which is really worrying. But at the same time, now I know if I just continue going to other chatbots, I'm going to end up messing up everything on the other ones. The Roaring Berry didn't go badly, but I definitely think it could have gone a little bit better. This one, Well, it didn't go horribly. Definitely didn't go as good as the last time I did it. In fact, if something didn't mess up, I would have been completely fine. Although that's a good way for me to test it, though. If something doesn't work out with one of them, maybe I can change the story later on a bit to where it will work better. Or if I can't, maybe I can do the story a little bit different to where that way they all feel that way it all works out for everyone. Ironically, the ones where I'm such a tiny velociraptor seem to work out better than the ones where I'm human. Ironic, I know. Except for the robot ones. Most robot ones end up working out perfectly. Not perfectly, but good. So, yeah. Part of me is trying to debate how I should handle this. Ow. Guys, I'll be right back.